And today we're going to just give you guys a few tips on writing your personal statement. So we want to just get right into the whole AMCAS application process. And as you know, a big part of your application is your personal statement. So we're just going to talk with a couple of tips that may hopefully help you when it comes to writing about yourself. Okay, so the first step, of course, is to read the prompt. So you want to make sure that you are answering the question concisely and clearly. So if, for example, for your primary application, which is what we're all going to submit June 2nd, right? That's the date, June 1st, June 2nd.
Somewhere around there.
Make sure you get, first you just read over the prompt, and it's going to ask you basically why you want to be in medical school and basically what you've done that makes you a competitive applicant to go into medical school. So in that essay, what I would say before you even start to write is maybe jot down a couple of ideas or an outline of how you think you're going to be able to specifically answer that question.
Right. I would just brainstorm, kind of map out basically what I've done to get to where you're at right now, or what made you choose medicine, if it was a specific event or if it has been little things over time, and go from there.
Right. So then after you have your outline, you're going to get to your laptop or handwrite it, however you want to do it. Don't make it feel too daunting. But you're going to just freelance that first answer, just write down as many of your thoughts as you can just to get it on paper. But you want to make sure that as you're answering the question, but you're also being authentic in your answer, because it is about you. So you want to tell about your own actual experiences. So that's our second point, is to make sure that it's personal.
Keyword,
Yeah,
personal statement.
Yeah, so like don't tell somebody else's story, or I don't know.
Yeah, or if you've looked at examples online and you think that this is really good because this person got in, let me try to, tailor this towards me. No, you want your personal statement to be about you and why you're a good fit, because you're going to be the one going into medical school. That person's already in. So you need to focus on why you want to go, what makes you a good applicant, what have you done so far.
As you're telling about yourself, of course, you want to highlight the good things about yourself, but it's also important to talk about some of setbacks that you've had. We've all had different journeys to get to this point, so it doesn't have to be something so major like, I don't know, something crazy, but whatever it may have hindered you or maybe been as a roadblock in your journey to medical school, you also want to talk about that.
Right.
But you want to make it into a positive. So what did you learn from that situation? Not, this happened to me, I flunked physics, the end. Like,
Right.
No, okay, so what did you do? How did you overcome that obstacle? Because they do want to see that you're human. Everybody makes mistakes. Some things take others longer or whatever, but just be honest in that as well.
And that may follow you to your interview, so you don't want to be in your interview and that be the first time you practice that answer, like, oh, they know about my physics grade and I don't have a story of how I overcame it. But if you talked about it in your personal statement, you kind of have an idea of what you want to say when you do get to the interview.
Exactly. So again, just be honest. Don't worry, we all have different stories, so don't feel bad about that. And also, our third thing is you want to, actually we're at fourth thing is you want to make sure that you have something catchy, because they're going to read hundreds of personal statements. So thousands, right?
Yeah.
So of course it needs to be authentic, it needs to be honest, but it also needs to be catchy, like an attention grabber. Don't start your personal statement with, hi, my name is, maybe just be a little bit more creative.
Right, or I want to be a doctor because I want to help people, or I like science. That's pretty generic. You want to be personal, like we said, and you want it to be catching to the reader.
Exactly.
And you want it to basically tell a story. So it's a journey. Your process to getting into medical school is a journey, and that's what your personal statement should be.
Yes. And so then once you have all of that together, so we're answering our question, we're keeping it personal, we're being authentic, we're talking about our setbacks, and we have something catchy to keep our attention. We have to make sure that we also do our research for the school.
Right.
So your overall essay needs to be catered towards that school that you're applying to. Of course, for the primary application, for those of you who don't know how that works, it's very general. So that when you're just saying overall, I would like to be a medical student because blah, blah, blah. However, once you start sending it to specific schools, make sure you research that school, research the program. Is it a research-based school? Do they have a new lab facility? Do they do global medicine? Like whatever it is, you want to make sure that you have also inserted that into your personal statement and how you feel that community will help you, or how you'll be an asset to that medical community.
Right.
So just to make sure that you did your homework, because like Kel said, those are questions that may come up in your interview. Specifically, like why our school? Or,
Yeah, why did you choose XYZ school instead of, this school, and you don't want to be there and, because, or, stumbling. You want to have a specific answer, and if you talked about it in your essay prompts, then you should be good.
Yes, so make sure you review your personal statement too. So that brings us to our last point, is to make sure you get it reviewed and have someone to edit the personal statement.
But don't have too many people edit it. You don't want too many eyes looking over your personal statement, giving you so much editing and grammar and just all types of things. Yeah, you want to be able to have maybe, I would say, 1 or 2 people.
Probably,
People that you know really well, or someone that you have shadowed, to look at it and get what they think from it and what you think you should add, and try to go from there. But don't, if they have some kind of suggestion, don't feel like you have to change it to that, because again, the personal statement is about you.
Exactly. And then also be careful with who you pick. Like, maybe your best friend knows you since childhood, but maybe they're not necessarily going to give you the most honest feedback because they're your best friend. You want somebody who's going to be honest with you, and who's going to, like Kelsey said, give you their feedback. You don't have to take everything, but you want to find somebody maybe who's an English professor, or maybe who, has good grammar, because they also look at that in your personal statement. This is a professional, basically, first time meeting you on paper. So you want to make sure that you don't have grammatical errors, run-on sentences, things like that. So make sure you find someone who can actually help with that portion of it, and then also somebody who can speak to who you are as a person.
Someone that knows you very well.
Yeah, so those are always really good things. And then do not think that the personal statement is one and done. I just want to be honest with you. You're going to have several drafts. Right. More than 2, more than 3, possibly. But it's okay. Maybe write a little bit every day, or maybe make a journal. I did talk with someone before who told us, Kelsey and I both, at Hampton last year, we used to have different admissions officers come and do talks, and I remember one thing that she said was maybe keeping a journal. And then by the end of however long, your first semester, before you write your personal statement, you go back and you're like, oh, okay, I did this, I did that. And those could help you in your personal statement, like specifically when you're talking about shadowing hours or volunteer experiences or anything like that. So you just want to kind of be organized with this, and also know that it is not going to just be one and done. You want to do a couple of revisions to answer that question, because you have a word count.
Yeah.
So you can't have a 5-page personal statement.
No. You want to keep it to about, a page and a half, no more than that. I think the character limit for AMCAS is about 5,300 characters. So obviously you can't go over that limit, or you can't press submit in order to get your application done. So make sure you stay in the word count, but make sure you're putting everything that you want to say in there. So it's very tricky to say all that you want to say, but keep it concise. That's, I think, one of the challenges that I had when I first did my draft. I was like, well, I have all these experiences, but I can only say so much because I can't go over 5,300 words. So
yeah, and then for me, kind of piggybacking off of what Kel said, was when you're talking about all your experiences, I'm an older non-traditional applicant, so I had to make sure that mine didn't turn from a personal statement to a resume. You have to be careful, because you don't want to list then I did this and then I did that, because then it kind of starts to look like a long resume and not necessarily a personal statement. So,
and there's there's a section on the application to put your activities and your experiences, so that can be something totally different than your personal statement.
Exactly. So kind of just with that outline, you can also just kind of maybe make a note, okay, I'll talk about this, in the secondary, or I'll talk about this somewhere else, because there are going to be other points in your application where it will ask you again, please tell me some of your weaknesses. So maybe whatever you couldn't elaborate in your personal statement, you can talk about there, as well as volunteer hours, shadowing hours, and all of that. So overall, with the personal statement, this is your time to shine. This is your moment. That first primary application, personal statement, and your MCAT score, those two are your golden ticket. You want those to be perfect, you know, as close to perfect as possible. Don't feel pressure. I know that sounds no pressure, but I'm just saying, you know, those are the areas where we kind of have a little bit more control, if that makes sense. You know, you can get it revised as much as you need to. For the MCAT, of course, you know, that's just practice. We have to just practice that over and over again. But when it's your personal statement, it's kind of like your 5 minutes of fame, your elevator speech. That's what it is. So
this is what they're seeing before they actually put a name to a face. So they see that personal statement and they want to be grabbed by what you wrote, and they want to say, hey, let's interview this person.
Exactly, because you might be personal statement number 1005, but they read it and they're like, wow, you know, after a day of reading, this is the one that stands out. So you want to have that. Let's see, for me personally, for my personal statement, I wrote a couple. I think I had like maybe 3 versions of it, not revised versions of it, because I had the same idea, but I had different ways that I wanted to say it, or I tried to rewrite a catchy opening paragraph or something like that. So it took me a while to kind of get it, and I'm actually going to be revising it again because I am applying this June. So we'll be there together, guys, revising our personal statements.
And I have, for mine, I have 2 different stories that I'm leading into, and I think for my 3rd revision I want to kind of put all of that together, so I'll be working on that in the next few weeks until AMCAS opens, so that I can, you know, get that done.
So make sure to it's time to look at our calendars, look at our deadlines. You want to have your personal statement done in a good amount of time so that whoever you have review it has a good amount of time to actually thoroughly look through it.
And then you have time to edit it.
Exactly. So maybe we're getting into February. Maybe you want to have it done, I don't know, maybe March first, you know, so it gives you a month kind of if you haven't already, and then send it out, get it revised, and do that a couple times. So, but that's just some of our tips for a personal statement. Of course, we're just being pretty general overall for the primary application. These tips do apply to secondary applications as well, but if you guys have any specific questions about how we wrote ours or who we chose to edit, let us know. We want everybody to win. We want us all to have our big moment when we have the interview, because they will sometimes, you know, depending on who you interview with, they may have your personal statement right in their hand. You know, and they may be going line for line and saying, oh, you said you did this on this day and da da da.
Yeah, elaborate on this, so you should know it back and forth. Yeah,
it's like it's your script. So, but yeah, guys, so that was it for today. We just wanted to share a couple of personal statement tips. Like I said, if you have questions, let us know. If you have any video suggestions that you want us to talk about, let us know. And we will be happily riding with you. Until next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.